Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at an article from Vox. Now, this was published on August 13th, written by Ian Millhiser. And I love how they're trying to frame this situation here. The Supreme Court just rejected a Republican effort to make it harder to vote. Actually, no. What they did was they wanted the law on absentee ballots to be upheld. Be honest. And the thing is what they wanted, it's like they're trying to claim that people can't do this. You have a situation where in Rhode Island, they require either a notary of the republic, or two people to basically sign that you are who you are and that's your vote. Proof of who you are. It's a chain of custody type thing. Well, they don't want any of that. So anyway, let's look here, the lead in. For better or for worse, the court tends to defer to state officials in the pandemic-related cases. No, they tend to defer to Democrats with their bullshit. Let's be honest here, because that's what's really going on. And the thing is Roberts here, they try to be like, oh, well, he's a conservative and all this, like trying to portray like he's an actual conservative, when anyone with half a brain knows that Roberts is a neocon rhino shitbag. I think he's proven that at this point. But hey, whatever. So yeah, let's get into the article here. The Supreme Court just handed a defeat to the Republican Party, rejecting the GOP's effort to make it harder for voters to cast absentee ballots in Rhode Island. Only 3 justices publicly dissented in Republican National Committee versus Common Cause Rhode Island. Justice Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, and Neil Gorsuch. Yes, which they're making valid points with this. All right, but the idea of, well, they're just being mean. No, they made valid points, but whatever. Because the idea is you're literally trying to get one of the only ways they have with their absentee ballots to confirm you are who you are, because a notary isn't going to sign off on your thing, without proving who you are. And 2 people where it's like an affidavit and you could be charged with perjury and shit, they're not about to lie for you. But yeah, let's just ignore that. Anyway, Republican National Committee is the GOP's most recent effort to make it harder for voters to cast absentee ballots amid a pandemic that is likely to discourage many voters from gathering at the polls. Oh, but they can gather at Walmart, they can gather at Costco, they can gather at BJ's Warehouse, they can gather at Sam's Club. But, they can't go and vote. They can stand in line to go buy toilet paper and paper towels, but they can't to vote. You got to love the mentality about this. And, they're trying to say that this is to make it harder. Keeping the standard where it is not making it harder. You got to be honest here. It's you people on the left want to make it easier. And if you get rid of this whole chain of custody thing, oh, yeah, then the ballot boxes can easily be stuffed in a state that was known as the Crooked Nose State back when I was growing up, because of, and even before that, because of, how the mob basically and criminals ran that city. You had, mobsters and shit in city politics and in government and stuff like that, and on state level as well. But hey, whatever. Ordinarily, Rhode Island law requires absentee ballots to be signed by 2 witnesses or a notary. Yep, exactly. That's if you don't, with their mentality is, well, everyone lives alone, because that's the only way that they could justify this narrative, is if every single person lives by themselves in the middle of friggin' nowhere in one of the, I think actually, never mind, not one of, I think it's actually the smallest state out of the 50. They all live in the middle of nowhere, okay, and they can't find 2 people to sign off on their absentee ballot or a notary to do it, or hey, maybe set up a ballot signing, party where, okay, if you sign mine, I'll sign yours, and just create this whole party where you all do it. Oh, wait, that's right. You can't gather in groups unless you're protesting the fallacy of systemic racism and other bullshit. This is, they literally can't go to a neighbor. They can't go to their spouse. They can't go, to someone and say, hey, do you mind? Maybe an adult child, whatever. No, they can't do that. They can't go to a notary, but hey, they can go to Walmart. Hey, they can go, to CVS or Walgreens or, hell, they can go to the local pizza place. But they can't go vote or find someone to swear that the person casting the ballot is the person actually casting the ballot. Liberal, left, I don't want to say liberal, but the idea of liberal in the United States, okay? But left logic at its finest right there. But I love this. In a normal election, this is a fairly minor restriction on voters. Even now, it's a minor restriction. What kind of crack are you smoking? Is it like that, that shit used with the byproduct from Colombia? Because you're high as a fucking kite to think that it's still not a minor thing when people can go out and they're jumping the borders and they're, with the idea of Massachusetts into New Hampshire to friggin' go and get, tax-free shit, all right, or going to the beach or doing this or doing that, okay, they can't find someone to sign off on it. They don't have a family member. They don't have a neighbor. They don't have anyone. They can't find a notary. It's not bullshit. And I know I'm repeating myself with that, but it is bullshit. Most individuals will have a fairly easy time finding two friends, neighbors, or coworkers who can act as witness, and fewer voters typically request absentee ballots in the first place when it is safe to go to the polls. During a time of social distancing, however, many voters could struggle to find the required witnesses. What are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about? They got spouses, they got siblings, they've got cousins, they've got neighbors, they've got, all these people that you're like, well, under normal circumstances, you're just saying that they're literally like boy in the bubble and they're in this hermetically sealed room in their house right now and they can't, deal with anyone? Because that's what you're kind of implying is like the type of situation people are in, and they're not. Oh. This is ridiculous. Significantly, Rhode Island's top election officials all agreed with the plaintiffs in this case that the witness requirement should be suspended during the state's upcoming elections. And isn't it funny that Rhode Island is like an overwhelmingly majority Democrat fucking state? I'm sure if you asked the Republicans there, okay, as opposed to the top election officials, if you asked the actual legislature, the state's, House or Senate or however they look at it, because it could be a different setup on legislature, but why don't you ask them? It's top election officials. Who are these people that are they all agreed? How many 2 or 3 people are we talking here? And what's their names? I love how you're leaving this type of thing out, that it was these Democrats that said, oh, it shouldn't be a problem. You got Democrats going, we don't need signatures on that. Oh, don't worry, the fix isn't in. Oh, no, we're not going to try to, rig the election. Oh, even though we're doing things we want to be able to have it so people can just grab a ballot at the local supermarket. They can't go to vote, but they can grab a ballot out of a stack at the local supermarket. Okay, this is the type of shit they're literally proposing with this, ballot for all type friggin' scheme that they're doing. And they're going, oh, there's no rigging an election going on. You got this going on in Rhode Island. Oh, there's no rigging an election going on. You are literally destroying the chain of custody, and it's only a few individuals in the Rhode Island government, election officials that I'm sure are all Democrat, saying, hey, we don't need this. Oh, our shit don't stink. We're perfectly innocent over here. We just want to make it easier for people. Okay, sure, It's ridiculous. After 2 voting rights groups and 3 voters sued Secretary of State Neil Gorba and the 7 members of Rhode Island's Board of Elections seeking to waive the witness requirement in these elections, Gorba and her fellow defendants consented to a federal court order known as a consent judgment, giving the plaintiffs relief they seek. Now, here's the thing. Those were Democrat activists suing Democrats, for the most part. You don't think that this is planned and schemed out? You got these activist groups who associate and deal with politicians and talk to politicians. You don't think they planned this? Hey, you get to look like you're going against it. Like you're trying to hold election integrity. You'll look good. Yeah. Seriously. And then just cuck and cave. then you'll look good there because you've come to your senses and you think that we need to do this. That's the type of like scheming that's going on here, as far as I can see. This is ridiculous. The only reason this case was in front of the justices is that the Republican Party, which isn't even a party to the lawsuit, asked the court to block this consent judgment. Federal rules of judicial procedure sometimes allow a non-party to intervene in a lawsuit and even to appeal a judgment that the parties do not wish to appeal. Oh no, the big bad evil Republicans didn't like the fact that there's absolutely no chain of custody if Rhode Island does this. Oh no. Because anyone can go and grab an absentee ballot, and you know they're going to do, let's do absentee ballots for all, or something similar. All right. And then Rhode Island, which has been caught in election fraud. We're talking back in the days when the mobsters ran shit like almost openly. All right. When that was going on, they had election fraud like it was no joke. Okay. Like they didn't give a shit. They would literally rig elections for everyone to see. That's how, like, brazen they were. This is the same type of shit. Oh, election fraud and voter fraud and tampering and all that doesn't happen. Okay, what about New Jersey? What about New York? Like, one of the races, since June, they still haven't figured out who the hell won. Yeah, okay, sure. Jesus. I mean, you just don't want the Republicans appealing because you want to make it easy for you to cheat. But a majority of the Supreme Court rejected the GOP's arguments. The state election officials support the challenge decree, and no state official has expressed opposition. The court's brief order in the Republican National Committee explains. Wow, that just didn't flow right. And no state official has expressed opposition. The court's brief order in Republican National Committee explains. Well, it would help if you put V, but whatever. Under those circumstances, the GOP lacks a cognizable interest in forcing the state to enforce a requirement that its own top election officials wish to suspend. Yeah, actually they do. It's called adherence to state law, especially with the fact that you have a situation where, the Democrats are literally openly trying to steal a fucking election when they're going, we don't need signatures on an absentee ballot. They're like throwing it in your faces, you idiots. Must have been like a Democrat-appointed friggin' judge. Okay, because that's literally throwing it in your faces. Saying we're going to steal the election in Rhode Island. When you get rid of the whole chain of custody thing, that's the only thing that can happen. That's the only outcome. But they think everyone's stupid. You're a fucking moron. We're going to con you. Most people, if they actually paid attention, are smarter than these idiots. I'm not saying all, but okay, a large number. But they'd rather pay attention to football and, well, actually not now, but now, or baseball, not now, basketball, not now, because the whole going woke shit. But that might be a windfall because those people might actually start paying attention. Say, what the fuck are you trying to do now? Excuse me? Instead of being like, oh, wow, the Bruins. Oh, wow, the Red Sox. Sorry, New Englander. But you get the idea. I mean, this is some ridiculous shit. They don't have any cognizable interest to want the state. I'm sorry, that's just funny. To want the state to uphold law when the Democrats are trying to openly steal an election. That's like left logic at its finest. Anyway. In brief orders such as the one handed down in Republican National Committee, the court does not always disclose how each justice voted. Yeah, because like cowards like Roberts, didn't want to be a man and say, yeah, I'm a neocon rhino shit pig. I'm a never Trumper and I want him out and I'm going to help the Democrats rig the election. No, he's a sackless fucking wonder who's going to sit there hiding behind the bench in his robe, okay, instead of ruling as a supposed conservative, okay, that upholds the Constitution. He's going to rule like a neocon rhino shitbag who don't like the guy in office. I mean, yeah. We know that at least 5 justices voted against the GOP. Yeah, at least 5. Because at least 5 votes are necessary to form a majority. And we know that Thomas Alito, Gorsuch, and Gorsuch voted with the GOP because they chose to publicly dissent. So wait a minute. Thomas Alito and Gorsuch are men. They say, yeah, this is why we dissented against it. And you're trying to play like, well, we know that they voted against it. Because they acted like men. They're not soy boy bitches. I mean, what's your name again? Oh, that's right. Ian. That's a fucking soy boy bitch name. You don't like the fact that they're real men and you're a little soy boy. Okay? I'm sure you don't own up and man up and own your shit. What a freaking pathetic little weasel this guy is. Oh, Ian. I mean, this is so bad. Anyway. Republican National Committee is the GOP's most recent effort. Oh, wait. Sorry about that. So anyway, yep. But Thomas Alito and Gorsuch voted because, yeah, they public dissent. We don't know with certainty how the other 6 justices voted. You don't? You know at least 5 of them voted against this, and most likely Roberts was one of them. If he dissented, he wouldn't have, hid that fact. But because he bitched out and he acted like a punk and he showed what his neocon rhino true colors are, like he's been doing, yeah, he didn't want to man up. Oh, no. We can't tell that him and 6 others definitely voted the other way, or at least 5 of them they did. Oh, my God. Nevertheless, it is very likely that Chief Justice John Roberts voted with the majority, though Roberts did not disclose his vote. Yeah, because he's a punk bitch. The court's decision in the Republican National Committee is consistent with Roberts' prior decision in human malware-related cases. No. Well, technically, yes, but it hasn't been on the note of with states. It's been the fact of bowing down and cucking to Democrats and allowing them to get away with their bullshit. Let's be honest here. But see, you don't want to be honest because you're on that side. So you're trying to make it sound like he's impartial and fair and that he's not some neocon rhino shitbag. Uh-huh. Sure, right. Oh, my God. And the party's defending. And don't start a sentence with "and." You're supposed to be a journalist. You're supposed to know proper English. It should be the parties defending the consent judgment all relied heavily on Roberts' previous opinions in their briefs. Or you could do the "and" make it just one longer fucking sentence. But you gotta love this. All the parties defending the consent judgment all relied heavily on Roberts' previous opinions. Yeah. So that just goes to show you how he's an inconsistent neocon rhino piece of shit that don't like Trump and is deciding that he's going to do shit from the bench that totally screws the country because he doesn't like Trump. I mean, that's what I've come to the conclusion of at this point. All right. You know he sucked some Bush dick. You know it. I know it. We all know it. He sucked Bush dick. Like Skull and Bones. He was like their bitch sucking dick, on his knees going, "Oh, take me along for the ride." You know it. I know it. Obviously, that's just humor there, and it's, fictional, but hey, whatever. Though Roberts is a conservative Republican, no, he's a neocon rhino shitbag, he votes with his liberal colleagues more often than any other member of the court's conservative bloc. Because, yeah, they vote along ideological lines, and he just votes along the fact that he's a neocon rhino shitbag that doesn't like the right. It's because Trump is the HNIC. Roberts' human malware-related opinions emphasize that the courts should defer to the politically accountable officials of the states when those officials announce public health policies related to the pandemic. Like with the churches and shit. Because it's okay for people to take to the fucking streets and loot and riot and all that in the name of fucking fighting systemic racism and all this other stupid bullshit that isn't true. That's a fucking fallacy. It's okay to do that. But if you want to go to church, heaven forbid. I'm not even a religious person. All right. I'm a lapsed Catholic. Born and baptized Catholic, but I am lapsed as all hell. But I understand and respect the fact of how religion in people's lives, not all, but in people's lives, is what keeps them centered and balanced and sane and functional and rational. But hey, people acting a fool on the streets, that's okay. Having something that's actually good for the people, no, you can't do that. I mean, this is ridiculous. He went against religion as a conservative. That should tell you a lot. The court's decision in Republican National Committee, which turns on the fact that Rhode Island's election officials agree with the plaintiffs, is consistent with Roberts' prior calls for deference to state officials. Yes, but the thing is what about the people on the state level in the legislature, like say, the people that are supposed to be electing, that they're supposed to be elected, to represent the people? What about, the fact that, the Republican National Committee and the local Republican Committee, the Rhode Island State's Republican Committee, both have a vested interest in wanting the law kept the way it is. They can say, that's to stop people from voting. No, it's to stop voter fraud. Because if you don't know, a couple family members or something like that, a neighbor or whatever, where you can just get your shit notarized, signed off on an affidavit. That's the thing that gets me is they want to waive the legal affidavit aspect of the votes. There's no custody to that. There is no way to validate those votes. So anything that gets voted on, okay, you cannot trust the integrity of those votes. Because they could literally be spitting those things out of a fucking copier machine. Well, excuse the motorcycle. It's nice out. The windows are open and it's late. I didn't think it would be an issue. I apologize for that. But yeah. So they look at the situation and I'm sorry. The situation like that, when they're looking at it like that, it's just a bit ridiculous. I'm sorry. I got a little sidetracked by the bike. Let's get back onto this here. Roberts' deference to state official often cuts against voting rights. What the hell is he talking about? Just last month, Merrill v. People First of Alabama, the Supreme Court blocked a lower court order halting of an Alabama witness requirement that is quite similar to the one in Rhode Island. The decision was 5-4, and all 5 Republicans voting in the majority, including Roberts. Well, you're trying to say it's similar, but how is it not similar? There could be differences. I love this one. They just assume that you're going to accept that. Oh, my God. The primary difference between Merrill and the Republican National Committee, however, is that state officials supported the plaintiffs in the later case, while Alabama state officials chose to defend their absentee ballot rules in court. Oh, so that's what it is. So basically, he couldn't get away with going against the people in the state going against it. But because it's the GOP and Trump, and he doesn't want to see Trump get another 4 years, that was the legal deciding factor. Interesting. So anyway, unlike Merrill v. People First of Alabama, and other similar cases where a state defends its own laws, the court order and Republican National Committee explains, here, the state election officials support the challenge decree, and no state officials expressed opposition. But what about the local Republican Party? What about local elected officials, like on the note of like the legislature? I'm sure there's people that went against it there, but hey, let's just freaking ignore that. Oh my God. No state official expressed opposition. Yeah, sure they didn't. Excuse me, but I need a drink here. As mentioned above, Roberts' pandemic-related opinions often focus on his belief that courts should defer to their politically accountable officials of the states. Since when? It's been deferring to Democrats, pretty much. What the hell are you talking about? Letting Democrats be authoritarian shitbags and violate the first fucking amendment of the Constitution on the note of freedom of religion, but allowing dirtbags who are going out, getting their own, claiming they're protesting, looting fucking malls and shit like that. Look at what happened in Chicago with the supposed protest. Look at all these cities. They're robbing, looting, thugging, all this shit. That's okay, but someone wants to go practice an inalienable friggin' right and follow their faith. Heaven forbid, we can't have that. I know I repeated it on that one, but they go through this shit as we go along. It's ridiculous. As I mentioned above, Roberts' pandemic-related opinions often focus on his belief that the courts... Yeah, okay. We already read that. I apologize. Indeed, less than 2 weeks ago in Little v. Reclaim Idaho, Roberts faulted a lower court to failing to accord sufficient weight to the state's discretionary judgments about how to prioritize limited state resources across the election system as a whole in the midst of the pandemic. Okay. So, what does that have anything to do with this? Oh, I guess we're going to find out. That means the Republican National Committee is likely to be a very narrow victory for voting rights. It's not a vote. It's not a victory for voting rights. It's a victory for fucking trying to steal an election. When you get rid of, and I've said this, and I know I'm repeating myself, but when you get rid of the one thing that allows for a chain of custody to be tracked, because you have a notary which can be tracked down because they got to put their notary seal on it and their license number and stuff like that, or two people have to sign it, and I'm sure they have to put their addresses and shit. So you can literally go and say, all right, well, this ballot looks a little funny. Let's go talk to this notary. And then either the notary, had their shit stolen if it wasn't a valid ballot, or it's a fake thing and they know that the ballot's invalid. If it's the two witnesses signing it, they have their addresses and stuff like that. They can go to them and say, yeah, did you witness them signing this? And if they go, nope, boom, right there. Easy to tell it's a fake ballot. So you're telling me that the fix that they're not trying to put the fix in? You got to be Joe the idiot circus boy, or your average fucking leftist, to not think that the fix is fucking going to be in, or that they're trying to put the fix in. You got to be one dumb motherfucker to honestly think that the fix ain't in, or that they're trying to put it in. You have to be like the dumbest shit on the planet. Well, actually, there's more than a few who don't. So the dumbest shits, plural. But yeah, it's ridiculous. It's a narrow victory. Roberts' deference to state officials suggests he is likely to vote in favor of voting rights only in cases involving states led by people who already support voting rights. What? When state officials resist voting rights, Roberts is likely to defer to those officials. This is not a voting right. Okay, voting right would be, showing who you are, getting your fucking ballot, and voting, and proving who you are, which would be having a notary or two witnesses signing off that that's actually you voting. That would be exercising your right. Not having a blank check to basically rob a fucking election, because everyone and their mother can just hand in a ballot, or multiple ballots with no chain of freaking custody. We'll end up with like Detroit going on, in multiple cities. In friggin' Rhode Island, you'll have literally more ballots than there were registered voters, like there was in Detroit in 2016, when Stein did a recount thinking, I'm going to show how smart I am. I'm going to show that I got more votes. I'm not going to give up right now. This is a way to show that Hillary won. Okay, that's what her mentality was, is that she wanted to show that she had a better turnout, and the fact that Hillary got more votes. But they were finding more Trump votes. And then once they hit the official number of registered voters, we're not talking about the people who voted. We're talking about all the people on the voter rolls. So there were a lot of people on those voter rolls that did not vote, because 30% of the country voted in the last election, some ridiculous low number like that. You're going to tell me that when you have every registered voter casting a ballot, and then you have a shit ton left over, and Stein's going, I'm done with my recount, there's nothing to see here, because she was afraid she was going to get, Clinton sided. Okay, yeah, there's some serious shit going on there, but hey, voter fraud, election fraud, none of that happens. You just ignore it. There's nothing to see here. Just shut up and be happy. In this 1984 fucking ripoff that we're trying to force you to live in. Give me a break. I mean, it's really sad. But this idea of voting rights, you people are ridiculous. That's not, it's your right to vote means that, under the law. This is a law too. This isn't like some guideline. They're just going to ignore the law. They're not going to have the legislature vote on it. The election officials are saying we don't need that when it's literally laid out in the state's law. Gotta love it. Moreover, when the state officials are divided on whether to alter their ordinary elections practices in order to prevent voters from being infected with human malware, Roberts has shown little sympathy for voting rights. What the hell are you talking about? Consider, for example, Republican National Committee v. Democratic National Committee, an April case where the Supreme Court's Republican majority effectively ordered Wisconsin to toss out many absentee ballots because it was shady as all friggin' hell. Let's leave out how shady shit was in Wisconsin. Oh no, there's no voter election fraud. Whatever. Piss off. Though many Wisconsin officials supported a lower court's order that would have ensured that many of those ballots were counted, the state's Republican-controlled legislature did not. Yes, because the Democrats were stuffing ballot boxes back then, like they're trying to do on a national level. Holy shit. People, wake the hell up. But this is Vox, and they're parroting the same talking points and bullshit to the lefties anyways, but whatever. Roberts sided with the GOP legislature in that case. Yes, because shady shit was going on. The Rhode Island decision, in other words, suggests that the Supreme Court will not act entirely as a rubber stamp for the Republican Party when the GOP asks the court to limit voting rights. It's not limiting voting rights, it's about upholding them. You have a right to vote, but that doesn't mean that you can sit there and stuff the ballot boxes because there's no chain of fucking custody. This is like the video that Freedom Tunes put out, what was it, a week ago or whatever, about the Second Amendment. Great video. Go check it out. Where, the Second Amendment hasn't done anything. And they're, you get the leftist view of talking about freedom. And it hasn't stopped us from, it hasn't stopped us from having our freedoms taken away and all this other stuff. And it's like looting and burning and rioting and all that stuff. And I mean, you can tell they used to be like pretty lefty there. But it's friggin' hilarious. This is the same mentality as that. Oh my God. This is such sad shit that they actually think they can sell this to people. But the Rhode Island decision, in other words, suggests this, will not act entirely as a rubber stamp. That's just fucking funny. They're not a rubber stamp. If something will hurt Trump, Roberts will vote against it if it hurts him. But this idea the decision should provide little comfort to most voting rights plaintiffs. You mean people, Democrat activists who are literally trying to get it so they can rig the fucking election by going, we don't need chain of custody. We don't need this. We just need to be able to have people pick up ballots at like the supermarket. We need to mail them out to every single registered voter, whether or not they voted in the last 7 years. Come on now. I mean, this is ridiculous. It really is. How they're trying to play this. Voting rights. Literally trying to keep voter integrity and election integrity, while dealing with human malware and saying, hey, if you can get two people to sign off on this or a notary, and they're going, well, people can't do that because supposedly, I mean, with the mentality we got going on here, we're all, or at least in Rhode Island, they're all living, by themselves in the middle of fucking nowhere. So yeah, I mean, this is ridiculous. Ian, you are a soy boy bitch, dude. Oh man, I'm getting a feeling when you got a name like Millheiser, they were calling you fucking Millhouse. I bet you were just like, Millhouse. Anyway, I've covered this well enough. I'm going to leave things here. If you liked this video, depending on where you are watching it, please give it an upvote or thumbs up. If you want to know when new content of mine hits the internet, don't forget to subscribe to one or more of my social media or video accounts listed here. Also, with YouTube, don't forget to ring that bell. You can find all of my video content on both BitChute and YouTube. This may not be the case with other places I upload to, but I will try to minimize this happening. You are always welcome to interact with me at any of these sites on the list, so feel free to do so. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video, when it comes to news or current events, send it right along to me. I will try to do my best to cover it. As always, thank you for watching.